Here's the video where all of the woodworking and engineering people get upset at me, but I don't make the rules. Everything in Blender is a bevel. And I'll show you what I mean here. I'll hit tab to go into edit mode on my default cube here. And beveling is something that we do to edges. So let's go to edge select mode and select an edge. Again, I'll just drag out my little toolbar here. And let's go down to bevel. Now I get this little yellow widget similar to before. And if I just click and pull on it, then we can flatten out this edge and push it in towards the other faces. I'll left click to confirm there. And the reason I said this might upset some people is because there is a technical difference in engineering between a bevel, a chamfer, and a fillet. So a bevel is actually just taking this and going all the way to the extremes here, but that almost never happens in Blender because first of all, we'd have some overlapping vertices, and also it's just generally not that useful because we may as well just get rid of that edge to get the same effect. So when you make something like this, technically it's a chamfer, but we use the bevel tool. Now the bevel tool has a bunch of different options, which makes it super flexible, and we can find that in the redo panel, either in the bottom left, or we could use the hotkey F9. So we could either work on vertices or edges. By default, it's always set to edges, even if we are doing it on vertices, which is a little bit strange, but oh well. Then there's a bunch of different options about the width and the number of segments. And the number of segments is where we'd make this into a fillet. So if we just increase the segments, then we get a nice, smooth, rounded edge there. We can also change the shape. So if we increase this all the way to 1, then we'll get a perfectly or almost perfectly sharp edge. Maybe let's have an even number. That way we do get a perfectly sharp edge. And if we pull it all the way down, then we can get a perfectly flat L shape, but usually we want it somewhere in between. I don't think we need to get into all of the different options here, but this is definitely a fun tool to use. So go ahead and just select some edges here and use the bevel tool, regardless of whether it's actually making a chamfer or not. But as usual, I generally don't use the tool, I use the hotkey. Again, you don't have to, but I find it to be a lot faster. So I'll just go back to my box select tool, and instead of using the tool, I'll hit Control B and then move my mouse, and then left click to confirm. The reason this is so fast is because I can also use my mouse wheel to change the number of segments. So if I select an edge, hit Control B, move my mouse, and then scroll up on my mouse wheel, I can smooth it out. Or I can scroll down on my mouse wheel to decrease the number of segments. This is an incredibly fast way to work. Now we can also bevel faces as well, but what that's doing is essentially just beveling all of the edges around it. So if I grab this bottom face here and use Control B, I'll scroll down to reduce the number of segments and left click to confirm. Lastly, we can bevel vertices, but we have to go into vertex specific mode. So let's just hit 1 to go to vertex select and hit Control B, but this won't do anything because even though we're only selecting a single vertex, it doesn't really know that's what we want to do. So let's left click to confirm and then turn on vertices. Now I'll turn the segments down here all the way to 0, and then we can change the width. Just like with some of the other tools, while we're in them, it'll give us a bunch of options that we can choose in the top left here. But I'm kind of out of vertices to bevel, so let me just select everything, hit delete and vertices, and hit Shift A, make a new cube. Now I'll select a new vertex, and let's say we want to bevel all of the vertices of this top face here. I'll hit Control B, but while I'm still in this mode, before I hit left click to confirm, actually it looks like now our options are down at the bottom in the status bar where they should be. I guess it's different between some of the tools, either look at the top header or the bottom status bar. I think Blender is still in the process of porting over everything to the new status bar. But anyway, you can see some of our hotkeys down there, and you'll see that vertex mode is V. So if I hit V, then it'll switch to beveling only vertices. And if I hit V again, it'll toggle it back to edges. Then I'll just left click to confirm when I'm done. So that's an incredibly fun tool, but one thing that I want to point out about it is how it changes with our object's scale, because I think this says something really important about the scale of our object and why it's helpful to sometimes apply it. Let's say that we want to scale our object in object mode. I'll hit tab to go back to object mode, and let's just scale it along the y-axis. I'll hit S to scale, Y for the y-axis, and pull my mouse out, left click to confirm. Then I'll hit tab to go into edit mode, and let's say I want to bevel one of these edges. I'll hit 2 to go to edge select mode, grab that edge, and then Control B to get to my bevel tool, and all of a sudden this isn't a perfect 45-degree angle anymore. It's way stretched out along that y-axis. Well, that's because all of the mesh data hasn't been scaled, but the object has. So it's just adding that scale on top of wherever our vertices are in the mesh data. So what we actually want to do before we jump into edit mode and start adding these bevels is apply our scale. So you'll see in our object properties that our scale is not 111. So what I'll do is I'll go to object mode, then go to objects, apply, and scale. Then I'll hit tab to go into edit mode, and let's try that again. Select an edge, Control B to bevel, and now that's perfect. So since the scale of our object often has an effect on our tools in edit mode, it's often really important to apply the scale before editing, or to scale your shapes in edit mode to begin with, and avoid scaling them in object mode. If you recall a previous video, I said I usually move things in object mode and rotate them in object mode, but as you can see here, I'll usually scale things in edit mode. Okay, but enough about the bevel tool for now. Let's move on to loop cuts. And for that, let's use a slightly more complicated object. I'll hit tab to go to object mode and delete our cube, and then hit Shift A, mesh, and monkey. Then I'll hit tab to go into edit mode, and let's switch down to our loop cut tool. I'll hit Alt A to deselect everything here. And wherever I hover over my mesh, you can see that it's drawing a line perpendicular to whatever edge I'm hovering over. This is going to create a cut that follows all the way around the faces. Now in this case, if I left click to confirm here, then that might actually be a full loop that goes all the way around the mesh. But that's not always the case. Even though it's called a loop cut, doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to add a continuous loop all the way around, because sometimes, of course, the faces just don't connect. We'll talk a lot about loop cuts and edge loops in the fundamentals of mesh modeling, but for now, just know that it's a continuous set of edges. So let's go to my box select tool here and just select this edge. If I wanted to follow this edge to the left, well, we can see that it very clearly connects to this edge. You know, if there's only 4 choices to work with, it's pretty obvious which way it should go. It continues over here, down to here, and down to here. But at this point, it branches off. And since it doesn't really know exactly which way to go, that means the loop is going to stop. So a better definition is a loop is a continuous set of edges where each vertex is connected to 4 edges. Because unless there are 4 edges, it doesn't know which way to go. Now it's often really helpful to select and work on loops all at the same time. And so there's actually a shortcut to select a loop all at once. So instead of selecting each individual edge here, I could have just held down the Alt key and then left clicked to select the entire loop. I can do the same thing down here as well. Left click on an edge while holding down Alt, and we'll select the entire loop. Same thing here. That goes all the way from this vertex in the front where it branches off into 6 edges, so it doesn't know which way to go, so it stops, but it goes all the way back down here, all the way down, and up, and towards his nose. So go ahead and just practice selecting some edge loops by holding Alt and left clicking. And by the way, if you're using the Emulate 3-button mouse because you're using a tablet for whatever reason, then the hotkey switches to double clicking. But since I don't have Emulate 3-button mouse turned on, then I'm using the Alt left click. Now if you'd like, you can also select edge rings, which instead of going parallel, will go perpendicular. So if I hit Alt and Control this time, and left click, then it'll select the edges going in the other direction. So this is called an edge ring. And we can actually select this if we go to our select menu. Let's just have an edge selected first, go to select, select loops, and either edge loops or edge rings. That'll do the same thing. We can select the same thing in vertex select mode. If I hold Alt, again select an edge loop, and just all of the vertices that connect it. And if I hit Alt and Control, it'll select the edge ring, but in this case it fills in all of the faces because all of those vertices are right next to each other, and so it just automatically fills it in. We can also select a face loop if we go to our face select. I'll just hold Alt and select a face. Though if you click in the middle of the face, it doesn't really know which direction to go in, so you have to click kind of towards the edges. That way it knows which way to head. Okay, well the reason all this is important is because these face loops is exactly what our loop cut is cutting. If I choose our loop cut, you can see that it's creating a cut straight down this face loop right through the middle. I can left click to confirm, and there we go. Now we also have a bunch of options here in the redo panel. I can set the number of cuts here. I can set the smoothness, and I can change the shape and all of that good stuff. Now, since this is something that's super common, there's also a hotkey for that. But it's gonna be a little bit hard to see on Suzanne here, so let's go back to our cube. I'll just hit tab to go to object mode, delete Suzanne, Shift A, mesh, and cube. Then let's hit tab to go into edit mode. And to create a loop cut, we just need to hit Control R and hover over one of those edges. So right now I'm still in the loop cut tool, but let me go up to box select. And now I'll just hold down Control, hit R, and now I can hover my mouse over any one of these edges. And to increase or decrease the number of segments, I can scroll up on my mouse wheel or scroll back down. Let's add in 2 segments here. I'll left click to confirm, but instead of actually confirming, this jumps us into a slide. So when you do it via the hotkey, it's not just a loop cut, it's actually a loop cut and slide. So now if I move my mouse back and forth, it'll slide between the two existing edges, and then if I left click again, it'll confirm. So loop cut and slide is actually a fairly complex operation. So let's try that one more time. This time I'll just add one more loop cut, but add it up towards the top here. I'll hit Ctrl R to add one edge loop, left click to confirm, but then slide my mouse upwards, left click to confirm again, and now I'm done. Let's see an example of where this might be useful. I'll hit Tab to go to object mode, and I'll just go ahead and delete my cube. Shift A, mesh, and cylinder. Remember when we talked about shading and we right clicked and shaded smooth a cylinder? I mentioned that adding more geometry would be one way to solve our weird shading issues on the default cylinder. Well, let's hit Tab to go into edit mode here, and let's see what happens when we add more loops. I'll hit Ctrl R and add a loop that goes all the way around the cylinder, left click to confirm, and I'll just pull this up towards the top here. And I'll do the same thing for the bottom. Ctrl R, left click to enter it, slide my mouse downwards towards the end, and then left click again to confirm. Now let's also create a loop of faces that goes around the top here. But we can't do that with an edge loop. If I hit Ctrl R, you can see that nothing happens. And that's because this is one big face that has a ton of different sides, and it just doesn't know how to cut it. So instead we'll have to create an inset. I'll go to face select mode, select the top, and since I don't really want to do this twice, I'll also select the bottom by holding Shift and left clicking the bottom as well. And then to create an inset on both at the same time, I'll just hit I on my keyboard, and then slide my mouse inwards a little bit. Okay, now if I go to object mode, you can see that the shading is much better. Again, that's just because the shading is averaging between our faces, and since we have more faces to average between, then it's going to look a lot better. But again, this is more about modeling tools and less about shading, but I did want to show you that. But now that we've created that inset, we now have a ring of faces that goes all the way around to the top, and if we wanted to add another edge loop there, then we easily could. Alright, the last tool that I want to tell you about in this video is edge slide, and this is a really helpful way of moving edges relative to their surroundings. So there are just some situations where hitting G to move something, even along an axis, just doesn't work that well. Let's hit A to select everything on our cylinder here. I'll hit G to move this upwards, and let's just rotate this randomly. Okay, just something like that. So it's just really skewed off axis, and we don't have the local axis to work with, we don't have the global axis to work with. Let's say we have a cut right down the middle. I'll hit Ctrl R to add an edge loop, left click to confirm, and immediately hit enter so it cuts right through the middle. Well, what happens if you want to take this edge and move it upwards along the other edges? Well, if you hit G to try to move that manually, of course you're going to totally mess up that geometry and it's not going to be actually even. And even if we use our move tool, none of these axes perfectly line up with that orientation. Now we could go through the trouble of creating a custom orientation and all of that stuff, which we'll talk about in the fundamentals of mesh modeling, but I really wouldn't worry about that now because a much simpler method is just to use the edge slide. So let's use our edge slide tool here and then select some edges and then just use this yellow gizmo like the other tools as well. Going in one direction, we'll slide it up, and going in the other direction, we'll slide it down. So we can do that for the whole edge loop as well. I'll hold Alt to select the entire edge loop, and then use this little gizmo to slide it up and down. This is such a common operation that it has an incredibly fast hotkey. So I'll go back to my box select tool, and instead of actually using the edge slide tool, which I almost never will, I'll just hit G twice on my keyboard. So hit once to go into grab mode, but if I hit G again, then it'll go right into a slide. So I've gotten in the habit of just double tapping G and sliding my edges around. Again, this is incredibly helpful when your edges don't really line up with any axes. I could take these up here, double tap G, slide it down a little bit to create a little extra room if I need it. One last note about the bevel tool is that we can also use it to kind of multiply edge loops in a way. So if I just select this edge loop that goes all the way around, and I hit Control B, even though it's on a flat surface all the way around, and I can scroll up on my mouse wheel, now I can just have 3 edge loops instead of 1. So it's useful for a lot more things than just creating chamfers. If you were to try to edge slide this entire selection though, now that it includes faces and edges going in multiple directions, if I try to edge slide this, it'll end up with a big mess. So if you're using edge slide, then you pretty much have to select just one loop of edges at a time. So if I needed to move this entire section up, I'd have to go ahead and use Alt left click to select one edge loop at a time, double tap G, slide that up, and then I'd be done. So go ahead, before moving on to the next video, practice using the bevel tool, practice using the loop cut tool, and practice selecting edge loops and face loops, and then also try out your edge slide.